games that we have built in the Web2 space. They were launched on 30 languages. So this also helps in different regions because not everybody wants to play games in English. And we're going to adapt on this also in our Web3 games. We're going to also insert some specific to these regions artworks, etc.
Do you have people on the ground in those regions? So for example, like, I think we learned a lot from Axie Infinity, right? Like developed in Vietnam and, really popular in the Philippines as well as the rest of Southeast Asia. So I get it. And I think the reason you said is right. Like, the $8, I remember when I played it, my SLP translated about $8 and I was like super excited. I can maybe buy a coffee in San Francisco, maybe, probably not with $8. But, in Southeast Asia, you can, quit your call center job, whatever, and just play all day as long as SLP's price hold up. But I guess part of that was a deep understanding of the Southeast Asian market, right? And Vietnam and Thailand don't look at all alike, and they don't look at all like the Philippines, right? From pure how users use it, right? So I guess who do you have on the ground that like understands these specific cultures in the target markets? Because I'm trying to look at your team page, and you guys have very impressive backgrounds, but I just want to know whether you guys have the deep understanding of the markets that you guys want to target.
I think we have a pretty deep understanding. Our team members, they're not located on those places, but our partners, they're located there. We have shown them like alpha versions just to try to see is this something that would be of interest for their community members, scholarships, and etc. And we feel that it would be with pretty good success. Also, we are building very well-known genres games like Match 3. This is one of the most popular. Everybody knows Candy Crush, runner games, Infinite Runner games, also racer games. Those everybody on the planet knows how to start playing those games without any need for warning how to play them. And when they start playing those games, our aim is when they start playing and they like the game, then we're just starting to converting them. Okay, why don't you connect your wallet, or why don't you create one? We can create it one for you for free with those development in your game. In the last 7 days, for example, you have earned $10. Why don't you switch? And it's like you must hook the player, and then with a lot of game loops, and we are very good in this. You can make them with bigger retention and convertible.
Perfect. Thank you. We got one last question before we're going to go on to our next pitch here. Shippy, what's going on?
Sorry, I forgot last time. I'll try to be as fast as possible. My question is a little bit the same with EYC. Roblox is one of the games that I try to follow their marketing strategy whenever I think for marketing. Whenever I asked any kid out there, how did you ended up playing Roblox, they told me because they saw some other kids playing on YouTube. Have you thought of this, just to find some new creators on YouTube who are young and to give them any kind of please play my game, do one video playing my game, something like that? My first question. My second question is, are you using the Web2 platforms? Because still people are on Web2, as sad as it sounds. Web3 is very far away from Web2 community when it comes to how many people are using it. Do you have any kind of your own channel, TikTok channel, YouTube channel, where you are explaining how we started? This is how we did it. We have 10,000 people who are playing, then 12,000. Are you recording your progress? And sometimes, even if your first business, I'm sorry to say, but even if the game does fail, maybe your channels will not fail. You'll have kind of small boost to continue your journey.
Yeah.
My last thing that I want to tell you, I have so many nephews, and I'm always lazy to connect my wallet with their games. Kids don't have wallets. Maybe don't be that much focused on the biggest players are teenagers who don't even have wallets yet. Maybe just I don't know how to say that. Don't connect things too bad with wallet. Because sometimes me, for example, I'm too lazy to connect my wallet with all my nephews, all the games that they play.
So about this, We're looking to minimize all the barriers that are before you start playing the games, because for us every next step, additional step, this is going to limit your player base. And we're in terms of UI UX, we're doing our games as easy to play, that as simple to play as our moms can, and this is like a barrier that we are looking for. About YouTube channels, of course, we have social medias. We have a lot of social medias also with our Web2 games. But I should say that we're looking, of course, we're looking to collaborate with a lot of those Twitchers, a lot of other people that are generating social media content, but it's not the main focus that we are doing. The main focus we are now with our project is to make a sustainable economy and games that could be playable with millions of players. And we want to share this economy in future with an SDK and a lot of other things that we can with other studios, and to become a publisher for them, because we are already a publisher.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Sugarverse, thanks for dealing with all these questions. If you want to find any more information, just click on Sugarverse's name right there. Follow. You can find more stuff there. Also, follow all the speakers who are coming up here and grilling. And we are going to go on to our next pitch here. So, Glitch, first of all, are you out there?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. You sound loud and clear. So how this is going to work, we're going to give you 90 seconds. You're going to give us a pitch, which for a DeFi project, a little tougher. And then we're going to dive in with some questions here. So I'm just going to say ready. Are you ready right now? And you can go. So are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Sure. I'll do my best.
All right, let's hear it.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on here, guys. So about Glitch, what is Glitch? Glitch is essentially a layer 1 blockchain that is built to be dedicated to DeFi money markets, right? And Glitch offers a scalable and secure foundation for creating interoperable and composable DeFi applications. And what really connects Glitch together is its unique revenue sharing model that essentially incentivizes network participants while ensuring a fair distribution of rewards. And Glitch is also a very community-driven protocol that prioritizes equal access and governance, which essentially gives everybody a voice in the community. So Glitch is also EVM compatible, so it makes it really easy for developers to deploy their own smart contracts on the network. And the native smart contracts will allow developers to create them in any language that's compatible to WebAssembly, right? So Glitch is also built with the decay nominated proof of stake consensus mechanism. And in traditional systems, there's a risk of power being concentrated in the hands of a few. That's not how it works at Glitch. Validators and nominators are actually the ones who are securing the network, and they're chosen and ranked proportionately based on the vote of the community. So, I mean, I can keep going on and on about
boom,
Glitch.
There was the time. You did pretty good there.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll definitely dive into some more questions now. So first of all, right, I was gonna say, anytime you're pitching DeFi, that's tough in 90 seconds. So we're definitely gonna have to ask more here. So you're talking about composable, interoperable, community-driven, unique revenue sharing model, and then it's a lot of buzzwords all together. So first, I always want to ask, anytime someone comes up and they say, "Hey, I've got a new protocol, it's better." What are the previous protocols that were not cutting it, and like what are the exact example? Okay, here's what we were using. This is what was not working for me.
I can give you a very.
Are you the founder, or are you? Did you create this?
No, I'm the marketing manager. The founder is actually Sean Ryan. He's the CEO, and our CTO, his name is Diego Cruces. We're a team of about 15 people, and Glitch actually has been in development since 2020. I was going to answer your question with a specific example of what we had to go through. Maybe that'll give a little bit of extra context. But yeah, basically, I'm the marketing manager. Just to answer your question.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, let's go into that story then. 2020. Let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. So one story or one piece of story that I can say that directly links to your question is what the team is essentially what we were building, or how we were building it and what had happened. So when we first ended up developing Glitch actually was being developed through Decay. It was a DPoS model, and it was built under the Tendermint framework. And so what had happened is that once the technical team was developing and testing the revenue sharing mechanism, or at least part of the revenue sharing mechanism, they realized that Tendermint was a framework that didn't cut it, and it wasn't compatible with the layer one that we had been developing. So we actually had to scrap Tendermint and the DPoS model, and we had to actually change completely to Substrate and the NPoS model. So that essentially was the issue back then, and we realized that Substrate is more flexible, and it provides developers, not only our developers, but all the other developers that will be building on Glitch, a more flexible and customizable experience in order to build their dApps, and in order for us to build the layer one itself. So that's why we ended up going down the road of the Substrate framework, and the Decay NPoS, which is a little bit different than traditional proof of stake systems. And we've realized that that's the best path forward for us. So hopefully that answers your question.
Well, no, that just gave me 1,000 more questions, because, this is how it always goes with DeFi. There's so many acronyms, right? You're saying, DPoS, NPoS, right? So we're talking democracy as proof of stake, and then nominated proof of stake. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Where the power is controlled in the hands of those that are electing validators.
So if I can do this, the method before you were looking at is this DPoS, which is democracy of proof of stake, right? It's how whatever democracy works. I don't know, right? Everyone votes, right? Or everyone participates, and then now nominated proof of stake, right? We've moved into like a republic. Is that how this works?
Essentially, okay, everybody can act as validators, right? If you have at least a certain number of glitch tokens, essentially you can run a validator if you know how to set one up and you know how to support it, right? And then all of a sudden you start producing blocks. Now, everyone else in the community that doesn't know how to run a validator, they can take their glitch tokens and they can elect up to 16 different validators, and put their stakes behind them in order to support the growth of the network. And what that does is the rewards that are produced in the layer one are then distributed from the protocols themselves to the validators, and then they basically get distributed down to the users that are.
I thought you were fixing something about the way it works. I think you're describing the way they all work.
Yeah. Well, that was the question, right? Well, was about the validators and nominators. So that's why I was just addressing the question.
So what you're talking about is so yes, it works how many other DeFi protocols work. The difference is some of the underlying protocol you're using, right? So what is Glitch doing different that no one else is doing then, protocol wise, right? Not just using NPoS and things like that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're currently developing a revenue sharing system where essentially a developer can choose to opt into this revenue share and allocate a certain percentage of the rewards back to the user securing the network, right? So if a developer comes in and says, hey, I want to build a dApp, I can allocate, a certain number of revenues to the system itself, in which will help secure the network, and it'll provide community members more trust in that DApp, that it's a good actor and that it's essentially going to be worthwhile in the ecosystem. So that revenue sharing system is the most critical part of how Glitch works and how Glitch will work. And that's one of the core things, and that's one of the core ways that it separates itself from other layer ones out there that are just trying to be a jack of all trades, basically trying to do everything and everything at once, as opposed to just focusing on one specific thing like DeFi money markets, lending protocols, decentralized exchanges, launchpads, like these core specific things is what we're building our layer one blockchain for.
Can I ask, so, you guys list in your white paper, AVAX, Avalanche as a competitor along with, BSD, Binance Smart Chain, and others. So do you have the functionality of so you talked about how you want to get developers on. What is like the consumer? I mean, is it just low transaction costs? Is that kind of what it translates to? I mean, what's like the consumer value proposition, right? A user of one of your dexes, for example.
Yeah, so low fees is obviously something that everyone tries to target and hit. It's also one of our core selling points here for Glitch. But really, that once the revenue sharing system is live and that mechanism is live, everybody, whether you're a Glitch holder, a staker, or whether you're a validator, you're a nominator, you're a developer, right? Everybody is participating and engaged in the network in some capacity, right? And if you're just interacting in like as a user in a decentralized exchange, for example, you could either trade, transact, you can add liquidity, and support the ecosystem. Well, everybody wins, but I mean, to a certain extent, right? Because you can say everyone wins, sure, but really it's about, building a layer one.
That's a trick question. Okay.
Really, it's about building a layer one that is as, more decentralized than other layer ones are trying to be. That's the ultimate goal. Not saying that we're there yet, but that's what we're trying to, work towards over the long term.
So, okay, and follow on to that. So GEX, am I pronouncing that right? GEX, your decentralized exchange, and XBridge, I presume that's your bridge, right? Are those live? Are consumers able to use that today? Or is that still in development?
Yeah, so you can use the bridge today. The GEX is almost done. We're under the last rounds of testing for the GEX. So the Glitch Decentralized Exchange will be available this summer. Absolutely, it's almost ready to go live. The bridge is live right now. So you can go on bridge.glitch.finance. You can bridge from Ethereum to Binance Chain or Binance Chain to Ethereum. You can also go from Ethereum to the native Glitch network. And you can migrate, that way as well. And so soon.
What about Bitcoin to Ethereum, right? I mean, the Avalanche bridge does allow that, but it's a little clunky. I'm curious because you talked about interoperability between chains. Do you have interoperability between BTC and ETH? Because a lot of dexes actually fall short there, right? There aren't a lot of great options to do BTC to ETH. There are more and more coming, but I'm curious if you guys do that today.
Yeah, so the native bridge, no, but we've actually, I'm not sure if you've heard of O3 Swap, but they're also a very, very great partner that we've been working on. We're very close. You're able to essentially swap Bitcoin to Glitch directly on there. But when you talk about a native bridge for Bitcoin to Glitch or to ETH, I would say no, not right now on the native bridge, but essentially there's going to be more chains added in the future and expand. Right now, we're just focusing on the native Glitch chain just because we just launched the mainnet bridge. We're just getting more builders to keep their eyes on Glitch, and there's a few builders that are actually actively building on Glitch right now. With the upcoming hackathon that's coming too, there's going to be a lot of interest in Glitch that will come into play here.
I have one more question, just final question. What is today, if somebody wants to bridge BTC to Glitch, like roughly what are the fees and how long is the transaction time? So fees either in sats or fiat USD, either one. I'm just curious how long and how much it costs to do that bridge.
Yeah, well, on the native bridge, you're not able to bridge Bitcoin to ETH or Bitcoin to Glitch right now. You're just able to bridge from Ethereum to the Glitch mainnet or from ETH from Binance to ETH to the Glitch mainnet. So in terms of that transaction fee, it'll probably be a few bucks. I mean, ultimately, it just depends on how much Glitch you're trying to bridge over at once. So it's all variable.
I mean, he's a marketing manager too. Drop off guys, but as a marketing point, just a parting point on marketing, branding. I mean, in an ecosystem with a lot of protocol failures and bridge collapses. I don't know if glitch is maybe a little too on the nose for people, but hopefully it's not going to be an issue. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Ship, you got a question?
Yes. Is this going to work in third world countries, because all the big platforms that are out there for the first time they work in Eurozone, United States, for example, Kosovo, countries like Balkans are so hungry for these things. Have you thought that this can be your market too?
Yes, actually, one of our primary target communities is Indonesia. So we have a strong presence and focus in Indonesia. We have a large Indonesian community that has been very active, and they've expressed their interest in Glitch. They've also had mentioned, there's just a lot of activity in that region. We have a lot of our team members as well that are around in that region. So hopefully we're able to get involved a little bit more in Indonesia as the months come by. But yes.
Thank you. Harrison, what's going on?
Yeah, so I guess is the main selling point of this really just like the revenue sharing? And then I do have two more questions. I know you're the marketing manager, so I'll try and keep it not as technical, but the two questions are basically, do you have like estimates on transactions per second? Obviously, like just like a rough estimate, and then how are the gas costs like compared to the other low fee networks like the Polygons, the Avalanches, the Arbitrums of the world?
Yeah. So in terms of gas fees right now, Arbitrum, Binance Smart, I mean, all the fees here are variable, right? But when it comes to Glitch right now, in the testing, there's fees that are basically in the low cents, and if you're transacting a high number of Glitch tokens, there's fees in the mid dollars, right? So it really just depends. We haven't seen any fees go above like $5 yet. To say a range probably under that. Most of our testing has been around the few cents area. And what was your other question?
The question was transactions per second, but I do have one quick, I guess, like reply to what you said with how the gas fees are scaling with the number of tokens. I'm just curious, like, why that would be the case, if there's any like underlying changes, because like typically, if you're on Ethereum, if you're going to send one ERC20 token versus 100 ERC20 tokens, like the number is not going to impact, because essentially, like all it's doing is just changing like a state value and a balance. So, are there any fundamental differences with Glitch Network as opposed to these networks? Why the number of tokens would actually affect the gas costs?
Well, the number of tokens sometimes does affect the gas costs. I mean, sometimes I send, some Ethereum tokens, and the gas value is different depending on how much Ethereum that I sent. Maybe I understood your question incorrectly.
That's not true.
Yeah, I think you might be mistaken there. Yeah. But Harrison also is the gas god, and we're getting into. So you could be incorrect, right, about it scaling up that way, right? So I don't know. I would double check, because that would seem weird, right? I could be wrong too, but let's keep.
Well, I don't know. I just sent some tokens earlier, but it's okay.
Nice. We'll keep moving. Crypto Jesus, what's going on?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me up here. Glitch, you were saying a big thing is decentralization to be a part of your competitive edge. I mean, that's what is really going to differentiate layer ones at the end of the day. So how many nodes are you guys running currently?
Right now there's 14 nodes that are currently running. There's a few that the community is running. There's more interest from community members. Over time, we do want to scale back on the team nodes. Ultimately, we want the community and everyone else participating in the network to be the primary validators. But in terms of the team right now, we have 14 of them running that are live.
Okay, so currently it's extremely centralized. And
it's very centralized.
And if you look at your gas costs, you're saying, oh, well, it costs pennies to do certain transactions on Glitch. Well, you got to keep in mind the reality of that is because of glitches being so centralized. If you further decentralize in the future, and let's say in theory you had thousands of nodes, in order to properly compensate those nodes, your fees would need to be dramatically higher.
You're right. So, like I said, it's gas fees are variable, and also the revenue sharing that we're trying to build as well is the attempt for the revenue share is to try to utilize it to also offset transaction costs. That goes to a whole nother set of questions. But
So
it's all
it
there in the white
relies
paper.
on the idea of people using your core decentralized exchanges and other applications you've created in-house. So are third parties allowed to create their own exchanges and their own apps on top of Glitch?
Yes, you're able to build any money market on top of Glitch and launch it.
So this entire thing is based on the premise that you will have little to no competition from third parties and that the glitch marketplace and exchange will be the predominant application, which means not only do you need to create a great blockchain, but you need to create great applications as well in order to have a positive ecosystem where these fees are being subsidized at a level where you can actually notice the difference between other layer ones.
I would say at the beginning, yes, you would be correct, which is why we're putting a lot of our effort into building the decentralized exchange that we're going to launch soon. We have a native NFT marketplace that's being built out. And we have a few developers that are interested building on Glitch, and we have a hackathon starting in July in partnership with Lumos Labs that will help bring interest in other developers to build on Glitch.
Yeah,
So
so obviously the hope is the number of users of your applications and the number of people that are actively running nodes scales at the same time, which I'm sure it would if you gained a lot of traction. But how do you plan on starting that flywheel in the first place?
your question is, how do we plan to attract more validators?
You got to get more validators and you got to get more users on your applications, right? It's got to be a hand-in-hand thing. And really, you got to spin up a flywheel. Like, a lot of products have a flywheel they got to spin up. And you mentioned, oh, we're partnering with this group, we're partnering with that group, and that's great. But what are you going to do that's different to actually get your flywheel moving, to bring in a vast majority of users? Because let's be real, in this market, the user experience is terrible, and that's probably the main thing in Web3. Now, there aren't a lot of new people coming into this space, except for people in countries like you're saying, you have a big presence. I forget where you said specifically, maybe it was Thailand or somewhere else related. But Southeast Asia is a great example of, you see the number of users going up every single day. Well, the market in the Americas is going down because it's more of a speculator's market. Well, people in, areas like Southeast Asia mainly need the technology because they're trying to get away from corruption and tyranny, especially on the financial side. So how do you plan on being that next step for them to get from, hey, I'm in this world of tyranny, to maybe I don't even care about Web3, but I just want access to this alternative infrastructure where I can have all these special things? How are you going to be the on-ramp?
I
And
think
how
it
are you
really,
make people aware of you being the on-ramp?
I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to education and educating people about what crypto can be or what you can do in the space, as opposed to just making it seem like it's just all Web3 or all crypto. It's just educating people on what you could do or what crypto could mean to them. I think would help them get them onboarded into not only just Glitch, but just into Web3 in general and DeFi in
I
general.
guess what I'm asking, Glitch, is what makes your product different than other products? Have you created new on-ramps, right? Like, these are the things that are going to differentiate you from other blockchains fundamentally at the end of the day, is how do you acquire users in the first place? That is the largest pain point in this space today. There are plenty of people that are interested in entering the space. It's just the onboarding process is like, it's like Web3 is like the Americas in the 17th century. It's this place that gives a lot of people hope, but the voyage to get there is a 2-month voyage by sea, and you're pretty likely to die along the way. How are you going to turn that voyage into more of a, let's say, like a Stargate, where you walk through and you're there on the other side, to actively be able to onboard users? Because that's really the only thing you can do in a market like this to actively differentiate yourself from other blockchains.
Yeah, you're right. Onboarding is very critical. Ultimately, it is a challenge in the space. It's also a challenge for a lot of other projects out there, and it's also a challenge for Glitch, right? Where we're trying to figure out ways to onboard as many users as possible and get as much interest into Glitch as we can, but more so expanding the network there itself. And
my question is, how are you going to onboard more users, right? Like everyone can say our plan is to onboard more users, but the question is, how are you going to do it?
well, there we have an upcoming hackathon that'll get a lot of eyes on Glitch. We have a lot of engagements that we're working towards.
And that's great for getting more content on Glitch, right? That'll get you maybe some more applications. But let's be real, even if you do a hackathon, the only reason those developers are interested because there's some cash prize on the table. Most of them don't really know about Glitch. Glitch doesn't have a huge consumer market, so they're not going to go out of their way, the vast majority of them, to start creating applications for Glitch if there isn't a giant addressable market for them. So how are you going to get users to Glitch is, my fundamental question.
Well, we're going to get users to Glitch by doing what we do best, and that is, education, getting people to come on to Glitch, getting people to validate, getting them to nominate, just increasing the
I guess what
usability
I'm
and
saying, Glitch, is you're not doing anything different than everyone else, and we're already in a landscape where layer ones, it's extremely competitive. Bitcoin and Ethereum have basically crushed everyone. There are plenty of layer ones. There's over 100 layer ones now. I've heard from every single one, oh, our mission is to educate. We're going to do this. We're partnering with all these communities, but they all have the same fate, right? They end up with a tombstone in comparison to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So once again, what are you going to do that's different to actually gain users and gain real traction?
look, there's a lot of things that we're doing that we're going to gain. I'm not able to directly address your question because we're doing a lot of the things that we know what we're doing here for Glitch. We're doing a lot in regards to the hackathon. We're doing a lot in regards to getting more eyes onto Glitch. This is the only way that I'm able to answer your question.
Yeah, beautiful. Actually, I think it's so funny because this ties back to the initial conversation we're talking about. We're talking about when you have technical projects, right? Often the hardest thing is like, how do you break down? How do you make people excited about it when there's a giant white paper full of all this thick info? Breaking it down is one of the hardest things. So first of all, gotta say, nice job, Glitch, actually sitting in this hot seat, dealing with these questions. That is our time, though. If anyone wants to find more information, click on the profile. They got a website, white paper, tons of information. I ended up going down a rabbit hole where I can't even understand half the terms in here. So it's going to take me some time to dive in. I want to thank every single speaker. Make sure you follow every single speaker up here. Make sure you follow the Roundtable account. Make sure you follow me, all that. We will be back next Monday talking for a new topic, whatever the hot news is. Thank you. That is everything. Thank you, Glitch. Thank you, Sugar First. Bye. We'll see you next time.
Hey, GPT liked it.
Moment of silence for the champions, for those who make going hard a lifestyle. Never wait for nothing, gotta get it right now. I'm in the spotlight when they turn the lights down. Only a champ swing the hardest in the 12th round. I love the fourth quarter, I love the ninth inning, I love game 7. Bring on the competition, cause in my heart, can't no